was talking to everybody out there because we were an independent.
Let's take those two things, being a visionary, right, and also taking the action to do that, but also doing the practical day-to-day of teaching and disciplining in the processes, right? And let's apply that for the unmatched, unlocking the unmatched value for eXp. So talk about that, right? You're this Hall of Famer, rock star, over $1 billion in sales, and you got your huge brand, and you're in Texas and you're crushing it. And all of a sudden someone comes knocking on your door and they're like, hey, Terrence, why don't you come check this thing out at eXp, right? Talk about before and after, and what was so attractive for you, and how does it unlock value for your agents and for your clients?
It starts with eXp gave me an opportunity to give everybody in my organization a seat at the table, period. It's always been when you become a real estate agent, you want to scale and grow, then you want to grow a team, then you want to become a broker, right? That's just the usual basic transition. But as the broker, I didn't have a way to give them equity. I didn't have a way to give them rev share. I didn't have a way to help them build their organization. And that model, when I really sat down and studied it, because years ago, Elizabeth Riley, Brent Grove, Gene Frederick, all of the Hall of Fame people called me. And I even had friends that started going over, Kyle Wizzle, a couple other independent brokers that I knew, just being a top broker in the state. But when I, looked at everything, at that time when I made the decision, I was talking personally with Gary Keller. I was talking to Compass. I was talking to Berkshire. I was talking to everybody out there because we were an independent. But the model of being able to give those revenue streams and the equity in the way that you can help other people have a seat at the table. Once I saw that model, it's second to none.
Yeah, and as a part of eXp commercial myself, I had a not as big of a luxurious career with an independent brand, but I was at Marcus and Millichap, and I remember giving 50% away of the commissions, not having a seat at the table, not getting any stock, not getting any revenue share, right? Not being on the right side of the quadrant. If you study the rich dad, poor dad model, right? Business owner, investor versus just W-2 employee or self-employed. And when you understand that and it clicks, it's like nothing you've seen before. But it took me a while to even, take my, let's say have an open mind, or take my pride off, or the false beliefs that I had in my mind. But what was you said you were talking to these people, they're all calling you. These guys are all Hall of Famers in their own right? But what was it that finally, what did you have to do in order to I guess, become a believer, if you will?
I think it took me, after running my independent brokerage, leading it, scaling it, growing it. I did all the training and I was at the time only hiring brand new agents, and we know they take a lot. And I just honestly, the liability, I started seeing the Texas lawsuits getting crazy, the funding that you needed in order to provide the right technology for your agents. And everybody knows, I'm going to study and I'm going to work and I'm going to travel. No one will ever be out in front of me. I'm pretty innovative, but I'm a realist. And when I started looking at the funds that it takes to truly build the platform and build the other options that agents needed in order to scale, I said, man, it didn't make sense for me as the broker. So I'm still a broker in the state of Texas, but I was able to offload a lot of the liability in the training. It's 80 hours of live training every week at eXp. A lot of that stuff, I'm not having any more conversations about how to write a contract. And so it's been life-changing.
That's amazing, right?